In the 21st century, we think of religion as a source of comfort. We look for peace, for love, for a sense of belonging. But if you were to travel back 3,000 years, you wouldn't find comfort in the temple. You would find terror. To the ancients, the gods weren't just stories. They were the plague that turned your family into ghosts overnight. They were the earthquake that swallowed your city. They were the storm that didn't just ruin it, killed. We didn't build temples because we loved the gods. We built them because we were desperate to keep them away. Today, we are peeling back the layers of history to uncover the 10 most feared deities ever conceived. From the Lioness of the Egyptian sands to the smoking mirror of the Aztecs, these are the gods who ruled through nightmares. This is not a study of fate. This is a study of the shadows we cast upon the walls of the universe. We begin in the Nile Valley, Egypt, roughly 1350 BC. Imagine a heat so intense, it feels like the sun is literally hunting you. To the Egyptians, it was Tezcatlipoca, the powerful one. The Lady of Terror, Sekhmet, wasn't a protector. She was a weapon. Born from the Eye of Ra, she was sent to Earth to punish humanity for their sins. But once she tasted blood, she couldn't stop. The myths say she nearly wiped out the entire human race. She didn't just use a sword. She brought the 7 arrows of pestilence. In Egypt, every time a plague swept through the city, the people didn't look at the water or the rats. They looked at the sun and saw the lioness's mane. The only way humanity survived, according to legend, was through a cosmic trick. Ra dyed 7,000 jugs of beer with red ochre to look like blood. Sekhmet, in her frenzy, drank it all, fell into a drunken stupor, and woke up as Bastita, gentle cat goddess. But the fear remained. For thousands of years, the pharaohs performed the appeasing of Sekhmet every single day, because if she ever got thirsty again, it would be the end of us all. While Egypt feared the sun, the Aztecs feared the shadow. Deep in the heart of Mesoamerica ruled a god whose name meant smoking mirror, Tezcatlipoca. Imagine a god who is always behind you, but you can never see him. Tezcatlipoca was the god of the night wind, of hurricanes, and of absolute crucine, fate. He carried a mirror made of obsidian, a black volcanic glass, and through it he could see your every thought, every sin, and every secret. What made him truly terrifying wasn't just his power, it was his cruelty. He was the god of the here and now. He would grant a beggar a kingdom just to watch him fail. He would take a hero and turn him into a coward for a laugh. The Aztec's life was a game of chance, and Tezcatlipoca held the dice. Every conflict, every war, every sudden death was his hand at work. In his world, there was no such thing as fair. There was only him. Why do we do this? Why create a god like Sekhmet or Tezcatlipoca? Psychologists in 2026 call this the agency detection bias. It is safer to believe that a storm has a personality than to believe that the world is random and indifferent. If the storm is a god, you can bargain with it. If it's just physics, you're truly alone. From the jungles of the Aztecs, we move to the ancient heart of India. Here, we encounter a figure that has terrified and fascinated the world for millennia. Kali. In Western pop culture, she's often portrayed as a monster, but the truth is much more frightening. Her name comes from the Sanskrit word kala, which means time. Kali is the personification of the one force that kills everything. The ticking clock. She is depicted with a garland of 50 severed heads representing the letters of the alphabet, a skirt of human arms. Why? Because when time claims you, your words and your actions are all that's left. The most famous story of Kali involves the demon rat. Every time a drop of his blood hit the ground, 1,000 more demons were born. The world was being buried in evil. Kali didn't just fight him. She became a whirlwind of destruction, drinking every drop of his blood before it could touch the earth. She saved the world, but in her victory, she lost herself to the madness of the slaughter. She began a dance of death so violent it threatened to shatter the universe. She only stopped when she realized she was treading upon the chest of her own husband, Shiva. Kali reminds us that to create, you must first destroy. She is the ultimate fear, the realization that everything we build will eventually be reclaimed by the earth. Travel west now, to the marble temples of ancient Greece. Most people today think of Hades as a villain, a Greek version of the devil. But the Greeks didn't see him that way. To them, Hades wasn't evil. He was just inevitable. He was called the Unseen One. He was so feared that Greeks would avert their eyes when sacrificing to him. They wouldn't even say his name for fear of catching his attention. They called him Plauten, meaning the rich, because all the minerals and gold of the earth belonged to him along with every soul that ever lived. Hades wasn't the god of death, that was Thanatos. Hades was the god of the dead. His kingdom wasn't a place of fire and brimstone. It was a place of cold, gray silence. The fear of Hades was the fear of being forgotten. Once you entered his gates, you weren't punished. You were simply kept. He was a cosmic jailer who never lost a prisoner. The fear wasn't that he would hurt you, it was that he would never, ever let you go. Further east, across the Himalayas, we find Yama. In Hinduism and Buddhism, he is the Lord of Justice. He is often seen riding a massive black water buffalo, carrying a noose and a mace. Yama represents the fear of the ledger. In the moments after death, Yama doesn't ask how much money you made or how famous you were. He looks at your karma. He is the ultimate accountant of the soul. In some traditions, he has a mirror that shows you every lie you ever told, every person you ever hurt. The terror of Yama is the terror of truth. He is the personification of the moment when you can no longer hide from yourself. He doesn't punish you because he's cruel. He punishes you because the scales of the universe must be balanced. He is the noose that pulls you back to reality. And then there is the oldest fear of all, the fear of what came before us. In ancient Mesopotamia, there was Tiamat. She was the mother of the gods, but when her children killed her husband, she turned into a nightmare. She birthed an army of monster scorpion men, dragons, and serpents to wipe out existence. Tiamat is salt water chaos. She is the ocean that wants to reclaim the land. She represents the fear that our civilization is just a tiny, fragile bubble, and at any moment, the ancient, monstrous mother of chaos could reach up and pop it. We are almost at the end. We still have to meet the queen of the dishonored, the spirit of the lie, and the god of the slaughter. And finally, we will answer. Who is the most feared god of all? In the Norse sagas, death in battle was a ticket to the golden halls of Valhalla. But what about the rest? What about those who died of old age, of sickness, or of a broken heart? For them, there was only Hel. Daughter of Loki, Hel was cast into the depths of Nibelheim. Her throne was called her plate was named Hunger. Her knife, Famine. The fear of Hel wasn't a fear of fire, it was a fear of the void. In the Viking mind, there was nothing more terrifying than a cold, grey eternity where nothing ever happens. She is the personification of the straw death, the quiet, lonely end that waits for most of us. Finally, we reach the two gods who represented the sheer violence of the physical world, Poseidon and Ares. Forget the king of Atlantis. The Greeks knew Poseidon as the earth shaker. He was a god of manic depressive rage. When he was slighted, the ground opened up. When he was angry, the sea rose and erased your lineage. And then there was Ares, not the god of strategic war, but the god of the bloodlust. His own father, Zeus, told him to his face that he was the most hateful being on Olympus. Ares represents the fear of the human monster, the part of us that enjoys the chaos of the slaughter. He didn't want you to win the war. He just wanted the war to never end. So, we ask the question, why did we do this? Why did we build these monuments to our own terror? Because a god with a face is a god you can talk to. We created Sekhmet to explain the fever. We created Poseidon to give a name to the tsunami. By turning our fears into deities, we gave ourselves the illusion of control. If the disaster has a name, it has a personality. And if it has a personality, maybe just maybe it can be appeased. In 2026, we like to think we've outgrown these superstitions. But look closer. We still fear the unpredictable fate of Tezcatlipoca. We just call it the algorithm. We still fear the plague of Sekhmet. We just call it pathology. We still fear the entropy of Kali. We just call it the heat death of the universe. The gods haven't left us. They've just changed their clothes. The architects of fear were our ancestors' way of making sense of a dangerous world. To understand them is to understand the darkest, most resilient parts of ourselves. We don't worship them anymore. But when the ground shakes or the wind howls at the door, tell me, do you still feel that ancient shiver? Who is the most feared god of all? The one you see when you look in the mirror. Thanks for watching.